All right. This is Frank, Everything Black. Welcome to my show. Tonight, I just want to show you how when they are white, when they say so, goes wrong. They are presenting a whole bunch of untruths. Because when they white and they say so, they believe those are facts. But a lot more information is coming out. So it's about to go in the wrong direction. This first video I want to show is the Fox show Face Off. This is where I think these two guys are advocates for different groups. And I just want y'all to see how they go at each other, especially over this case with Carmelo Anthony and the Metcalf young man. So here we go.
As we just watched a segment here discussing the tragic loss of life of a young high school student in Frisco, Texas. It upsets me because that newscast is full of damn lies. This is a tragic situation where a young man, yes, but young Carmelo Anthony in this case, the young man who's been charged with murder, he did not assault anyone in the beginning. He didn't start this fight. The young man approached him with his brother, threatening Carmelo to move out of a spot that was not assigned to anybody. Where Carmelo was sitting, he had a right to be sitting. There was no assigned seating anywhere.
I want y'all to listen to all this, what the brother is saying. Listen to everything. Now look at how the white supremacist, suspected white supremacist, is looking at him. Now, you know what? I don't know if this is just a show or they got to be the example of how white people think and how black people think. Maybe this is all a show. And but anyway, I just want y'all to check out how things turn out. Listen to what the brother is saying and listen to what the white guy is saying and see if you can find the truth in there somewhere. All right, here we go. Fair use, Foxo. If y'all want to watch the whole show, y'all can go on that channel. They have good entertainment on there. They go at each other every night about different things, so different subjects. So, check them out. But I saw this and I thought this was interesting. I thought this was something that we need to see as, black people. Here we go.
That excluded students from sitting in certain areas. Then when they went to Carmelo, he was threatened by both brothers. And he told them, don't put it next to him. And he told, watch what happens. The white kid in this case punched Carmelo in the. He didn't push it. Deadly force if necessary to protect yourself and your life. To stop you. I was in jail. In jail. Defended himself from a vicious attack and assault. So this young man, in my opinion, should not be in jail. Teach your children. Keep your hands to yourself. That's what needs to be taught here. And we'll see This ain't no damn Rosa Parks era. You just can't go to a young black man and say, give up your seat. He had a right to sit there. And so that brother had his back of the bus moment and refused to give up his seat, and it cost that young white kid his life.
I rarely say this, Quanell. I sometimes internalize it, but shame on you. How absolutely despicable for you to sit here and this false equivalency between Rosa Parks. Shame, even if you assume everything that is coming out of the Carmelo Anthony camp, even if you assume all of that is true, under the law, are true, it's still murder, right? You do not have a right to use deadly force and I have no doubt that more is going to come out of Carmelo Anthony. That more evidence, that there are rumors that I don't want to regurgitate.
Oh, please.
No.
Please do.
You sent me the statement by just fabricated. Somebody out there making believe. Over so, and it's all driven on. But you are the one that was called. We have this new to school.
This is called reverse racism. This is where white people always take the narrative of race and pretend it's not there. This is what they do. If something happened to us, they switch it. And when black people get on their side and say yes, sir, and no, sir, and agree with them, this is where the shit get dangerous. This is where when something do really happen to us, nobody cares. Look at how they just say call him a murderer and all this, taking that narrative. And listen how black people are getting on code with them. This is putting our race in bigger danger. You know what I'm saying? They are make-believing that whatever happened to us is just our fault. And we are good people. We don't believe in doing nobody wrong. We the right, white, and we right. So that's the narrative that they like to push out there. But I'm gonna let him continue a few more minutes.
Went to someone else's tent, started being a jackleg, refused to move out, and then pulled out a knife and jabbed it in someone's heart, I would call him a murderer. And if a white kid did exactly what Carmelo Anthony did to a black kid, you would be out here marching in the streets.
Oh, no, I would not be.
People would be burning your life through your teeth.
George Zimmerman with the Trayvon Martin and put his hands on that kid who was doing nothing wrong. And you same white folks found George Zimmerman not guilty of murder when Trayvon was defending himself. Right here in Texas, you've had many cases where white men have been assaulted by black men. They use deadly force and they're not charged.
Why are you talking about something else?
You cannot tell me.
Why are you lying about my position, you despicable, shameless liar?
He was assaulted. That young man was assaulted. He was threatened more than one time. He was asked to move from an area he had a right to sit in. He didn't approach nobody. He didn't threaten nobody. That young man, after being threatened continuously 3 times in a row, was punched in the face. He had a right to defend himself. So don't tell me that this young man can be threatened multiple times and physically punched and assaulted, and he ain't got a right to put his hands in self-defense on the person assaulting him. And he can use.
All right. So y'all see that part. We're going to go ahead on. That was a good little, I don't know if they were acting or, they serious about what they're talking about, but we're going on. We're going to move to something else that I feel is way more important than that. And that is the rights. When you are encountered by a police officer, he detains you, which means he tell you, this is what you got to do, or, you can't go anywhere. When they tell you that, rights start to kick in. They have to read you what we call the Miranda rights. So I'm going to let a real lawyer come in here and tell y'all about that. Hold on one second. Let's get to this lawyer here. I had him on another video earlier, and I hope this is the right video, y'all. Let's get to it. Let's see. Is this the right one? Yeah. Let me back it up just a little bit. Okay, here we go. We're going to start it right here. You should go to his show. It's called the Defiant Lawyer Network. He has a book out that I think every parent should check out, especially when you a Foundation Black American and you have your kids in these upscale, wealthy white schools. So please get that book. Go and support the brother on that. All right, we're going to get to some facts here. Let me bag it up about, I think I'm going to start where I left off on my last video. Fair use YouTube, Facebook. This is done in educational purposes, for educational purposes only. So let's start about right here. All right.
That what Carmelo said is the only evidence in this case. I don't know that to be true. Okay, from what's in this report, there were witnesses. So I don't know, and I'm not going to get a lot into the facts because I just don't know. All I have is this arrest report, and that's the police's side. That's those other witnesses' side. I can't. I've been doing this too long. I will not put a whole lot of credence into this report. But I want to read this part to teach you all. Okay, if you are detained, they should read. Even if they haven't read, you quiet, and you need to be quiet. You don't need to say anything. Anything. If you have children, juveniles that the police want to talk to, no. That's why the framers put it in the Constitution. Because the state or the feds shouldn't be able to force you, so he doesn't know, and the officer didn't inform him. I asked him if he had any weapons. Okay, here's the question. In other words, they would argue that what Carmelo said before the officer asked him anything was voluntarily given. Therefore, it is not protected by the Fifth Amendment. Randall won't know if he asked the question before Carmelo said what he said. We don't know. The body cam, there is body cam here from what he says in this report. Body cam should have been Mirandized. I want you to understand. Because he was detained and because he was now being directly interrogated, this was another chance for this officer to Mirandize this kid. And there's nothing in this record that says he was Mirandized. Nothing in here to say that. So this is violation of this kid's Fifth Amendment right, his constitutional right. Then everything that came after this violation of his constitutional right is what we call fruit of the poisonous tree. And the judge should not only suppress what Carmelo said in response, but everything he said. Everything he said in this report should be suppressed.
So I want y'all to know that throughout this whole process, nobody has explained this thing, this situation, like this brother is doing now. As soon as the officer stepped to this guy, he should have gave him or detained this guy. He should have read him his Miranda rights so he would know his rights. Now, this could possibly be a order to dismiss this case because he didn't get his Miranda rights read to him. And they're throwing all this information in there that's biased. A police report doesn't make it true. Witness statement doesn't make it true because you can get a witness later and they done change the whole story because now they understand they are being given a real testimony. They must tell the truth. They must swear to tell the truth and the whole truth. See, none of these kids or witnesses has been forced to tell the truth. They just basically saying whatever the hell they want to say. And the cops are not asking real questions. They just writing down what the people say. These cops are not doing their job. And we call them race soldiers. A police officer does his job, but a race soldier just asks questions that has nothing to do with nothing or make statements that has nothing to do with nothing. And it doesn't make it real. This is what I like about this attorney. He's telling you, just because you see it on a police report don't mean it's true. It's a biased police report. They're just giving their opinion on it or perspective. And their perspective is not making it true. Doesn't make it true. So let's keep going.
Because it was extremely important for this kid. He's only 17. He doesn't know these things. He doesn't know anything about the law. He should have been Mirandized. Okay? And he didn't get that. And so he had all sorts of things because the police didn't Mirandize him. All right, let's go back. Asked him if he had weapons, and he said no. I patted him down for weapons while weapons. I did not locate any of his any on his person. I law fence, which he complied, towards an area where there was an opening in the fence that led off the track. While walking him off the track, the suspect also said, quote, he put his hands on me, close quote. Still no Miranda warning. Still no Miranda warning. Still, he didn't tell him he had the right to be silent. And so this young man, not knowing what he's doing, he's a kid. He's a kid, right? Both him and Metcalf. both kids, 17-year-old, I believe that the other kid is 17, was 17 as well. This is such a tragedy. So meanwhile, Carmelo still talking. He put his hands on me. Now again, we don't know if all of this is true. We must see the body to confirm that Carmelo said of this. So remember what I said earlier, don't take any of this to be true because it's a police report. It has not gone through the rules of evidence and so forth and so on. And the jury will not see it. Okay? I then detained a suspect. Now, that's critical. He says, I then detained him. He was already detained. You're detained when you feel like you're detained. And I mean that. When you reasonably think you leave.
Right.
If he gets you like that, you are restricted. You can't put your hands down. You can't walk away. You are detained. So it sounds like, it looks like this officer is trying to,
Yeah, I heard that.
Ricci had arrived on scene at that time. I conducted another pat down of his person and then searched his person after he gave me consent. Give them consent to search you. Never, ever. Don't do it. No weapons were located. Respectfully declined. In other words.
Y'all heard that? Don't ever give them the right to search you. And never, ever speak when you're being accused of something. You have the right to remain silent, your Fifth Amendment. Remember that, guys. Remember that, ladies, or children, or young men, or young kids, young girls. Remember, when you being obtained or detained by a police officer, he must read you your Miranda rights. And when you encounter them, don't say anything. And never allow them to search you.
Words. While the suspect sat on the ground, I advised that I had the alleged suspect. Still no record whatsoever that he Mirandized this young man. The suspect then responds and says, I'm not alleged, I did it, close quote. And that is what officers don't know, that he said that.
Correct.
And if he did say it, this statement should be inadmissible. It should be suppressed because this officer did not Mirandize this young man. And this was especially important because you're dealing with a 17-year-old young man, to my knowledge. All right. Next, Officer Ricci and I walked the suspect to patrol vehicle number 2412, which was on the northeast gate of Carrendale Stadium. I don't know how to pronounce that. As we were walking to the squad car, I told him, I'm trying to talk. I have the right not to talk to the police without an attorney present. Heard of them trying to cop violated this young man's constitutional rights by not Mirandizing him. That is required under our Constitution. So everything this young man said should be suppressed.
Okay.
Everything.
Okay. Okay.
Directly and as fruit of the. All right. I did not question the suspect about the incident while he was escorted to the patrol vehicle. See, he keeps saying that because that he knows he's wrong. He knows he should have Mirandized this kid. So he plans to just let the kid keep just saying things, and then he could argue at the motion to suppress hearing, well, it was all voluntarily given. It was a classic custodial interrogation which requires Miranda. Okay, period. There's no, this is an easy one. This is a first-year law school situation. I searched this person once again and had him sit in the back seat area of patrol vehicle 2412. While the suspect was in the back seat, I noticed fresh blood on his left middle finger. I verbally acknowledged that I saw the blood out loud so that it would be captured on my body-worn camera. So he was body camming this. It should also be noted that the suspect asked me, is he going to be okay while he was in the back seat? This young man did not know how to handle this situation. That's all. Okay? All right, I think that might be all that I wanted to show you from here. Well, here's a Anthony was from high school and was sitting under the Memorial High School tent. Austin had told Anthony that he needed to move out from under his tent. And Anthony his bag and reached it to Austin and allegedly said touch. Now, all of this has not been verified. It has been reported by news media. They have been all over the last week. So this is, out there. What I'm saying to you is, for now, we can take this with a grain of salt because it has not been verified. And again, it should not be admitted at trial because the state has to play by the rules. That's what we lawyers are here to play the rules that by a judge. Okay, the judges have said, you got to do this, you got to do that. In fact, it reminds me of some of what's going on with the Trump administration. Here recently, the U.S. Supreme Court said to the Trump administration, you can go forward temporarily with the Alien Enemies Act, but as out here saying, the lawyers to give them the opportunity to hurt expected rights. Okay, so that's what's really good. Trump administration with the Aliens Enemies Act, but must go on forward. Give all the people their due process rights. So the must detain them voluntarily. And the cops should never do what that cop did. That is, allow someone to just sit and say a bunch of things, and without the cop Mirandizing them. And he knew he was dealing with a child, a 17-year-old child who I believe, again, has never been in any trouble. So the kid didn't know. He's just talking. One part of the report says that he was crying hysterically. And the cop is just letting him sit there and talk. I've represented so many of these cases. I've seen it so many times.
Anyway, I'm going to let that be it. Remember, when you're detained by an officer, he should, before you say anything, and you shouldn't say nothing, read you your Miranda rights. Also, you cannot allow them to search you. So say no to that. These are two most important things that you need to know when you encounter an officer. Say nothing and don't let them search you without your lawyer present. And make sure that they read you your rights. If they don't, they can suppress everything you said and it not be permitted. So it would like decimate their case against you. All right. Thank you for joining. This is Frank Blanton. Everything Black. See you on the other side.